One of the best ways of getting fit, both mentally and physically, is by running. While some may resort to the treadmill, others are impacted by the weather conditions outdoors. According to the Run Repeats Fitness Trends report, 59% of active adults say that outdoor running is one of their top ways to stay fit. And running has been a growing sport, especially since the COVID-19 pandemic. According to a social platform for runners, the number of people running a marathon distance of 26.1 miles doubled since the start of the decade. So, if you're one of those people who are lacing up their running shoes, the weather plays a large factor in your performance. The deadliest weather hazard in the United States is heat, and it has a large effect on runners. As spring fades into summer, the temperatures rise with the humidity levels, which is best measured with dew points, brings a significant impact to those running during the peak heating of the day.
So like hot weather, humid weather can be a serious challenge if you're going out in super hot weather. Heat stress can occur if you lose too much water. If you're dehydrated, you've got an increased body temperature.
As your body temperature rises during the middle of the run on a hot day, a variety of different heat illnesses may be something to look out for.
Extreme heat can also cause heat cramps, partly caused by the depletion of like sodium and potassium from your system through sweat. Heat cramps are primarily caused by muscle fatigue. Heat exhaustion is another issue that happens in extreme heat. So this is like insufficient amount of blood returning to the heart. So too much blood's being sent to the muscles and the skin to try to get cooled off by the air that's passing over your skin. So symptoms of heat exhaustion, you get rapid, weak pulse, low blood pressure, get a headache, get dizzy, face turns pale, like profuse sweating. And then the worst one would be, I would think, would be heat stroke. So definitely a medical emergency. That's when like your brain temperature regulatory center fails and causes your body temperature to rise to like super dangerous levels.
Sometimes your schedule may force you to run during the hottest part of a summer day. There are helpful tips to keep you cool throughout to make sure you are comfortable and safe.
Hydrating is going to be paramount if you know you're going out in the heat. So, I mean, at least 2 hours prior to the run is when you really want to be hydrating 16, 24, 32 ounces within 2 hours before going out to run.
Transitioning into winter, the cold also brings health factors into play when one is exposed for longer periods of time.
Extreme cold, if you're getting into like, -20, like crazy risk to your lung damage as far as freezing parts of your lungs and causing, bleeding from that sort of extreme.
While your interior body, such as the lungs, may be impacted, you need to keep aware of your skin and exposed surfaces to the wind and cold air as you are running outside.
In the negative temperatures, you're going to pose a risk for getting frostbite, freezing, tissues that are exposed. Hypothermia can start. It doesn't even have to be freezing out. Wind chill is going to be a big issue, but hypothermia is just, the drop in core temperature decreases your central nervous system, results in sleepiness, and just your metabolic rate goes down as far as like giving you the energy that you need to get the working muscles going in the cold.
Runners complain about wearing layers throughout the winter months, as it may be uncomfortable and slow down their speeds. There are some great ways to layer up without having the same effect.
In the cold, you definitely want to be wearing some layers. It's better to be, hot when you're running in the cold weather and be able to take a layer off than going out with exposed skin and having wind rash. Protecting your lungs is a big one. One way to protect your lungs if you're going out on a super cold run, cover my mouth with some sort of, heat and moisture exchange device or just like a face covering.
Wind can be a factor at any time of the year, during the hot sunny days and even during the cold dark winter days. In fact, it is large enough of a factor to even make or break your race running record.
If you're on the clock and you're trying to beat a time and you're going into the wind, kind of messes up your orientation. If it's a heavy wind, can mess with your vision. And then the complete opposite would be if it's at your back and you're running a race, you have windage that gets added to your time. So if you run like a world record time because there's a 25-mile-per-hour wind behind you, there's an asterisk on your world records.
Despite the variety of weather conditions that are uncomfortable for running, there is a specialized Goldilocks zone to maximize your comfort on an outdoor run.
Consensus is somewhere around 50 degrees would be like the best as far as performance goes.
If you are beginning your running journey, the greatest advice is to take it slow and to not risk burnout or injuries.
My advice is to start short, and then you can improve your intensity by the same distance, but for a shorter amount of time. Or depending on your goals, if you're trying for weight loss or just endurance fitness, increasing the time, not necessarily the distance. So don't worry so much about how far you're going, but how long you're doing it.
Whether you're beginning to run or are an experienced runner, it is important to know the weather forecast ahead of time to best prepare and avoid serious weather related injuries. High heat possesses a risk for serious health conditions as your body dehydrates a lot quicker than other weather conditions. While, on the other hand, extreme cold may impact your lungs and frostbite your exposed skin. No matter the weather, remember to always hydrate as you lose a lot of nutrients and fluids through sweat. Next time you lace up your shoes, knowing the weather ahead of time and preparing will keep you safe and comfortable as you tally up miles outside. For Weather World, I'm student meteorologist Denys Khrulov.